This is incredible. I'm getting it.
You getting what?
A stock.
What stock?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Aitx. Let's switch over to the daily chart. Let's talk about today's video from Steve Reinhardt. He made a video today, his weekly video. He always comes out with it in the morning at around 8 a.m. And he had some really juicy things to say, things that we already knew, some new things that I want to go over and touch on and expand on. Aitx down 30.77% on Friday. No one should be upset by this. Of course, when you have a huge run up, eventually the selling pressure was going to step in. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capture this supply zone. I thought maybe we would capture it, but the moment the selling pressure came in, buyers, where were you? Where were you? Nowhere to be found. They couldn't even keep up. So unfortunately, we're just going to continue to bleed at this point. That's been the pattern. We have a run up, we bleed. Run up, big red candle, we bleed. Run up, big red candle, we bleed. That's just the name of the game. People are going to take profits, and that's just the name of the OTC stocks. You want to buy as cheap as possible. You want to sell up here, and then, if people want to hold a bag, they can hold the bag. I'm out with my profits, and we're good. We'll buy ourselves an e-bike or Ferrari or whatever. But anyways, I want to touch on this infographic that I made today. Let's see, where is it? There's the infographic that I was looking for. Steve Reinhardt has mentioned a lot of things in today's morning video, weekly video. So they have a game plan, and let's just go over it real quick and expand on it. This year, continuous sales increase. This is important because this year, they've been focused on continuous increase in sales growth, and that is reflected on the chart. This year, we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've gotten 5 or four runs, one little pop here, but we've had 4 runs. I'll call this a run. They pull back, and then another one. Run, pull back, another run. So 4 runs since December of last year. So for 4 months now, or no, 5 months. For 5 months now, for 5 months since December of last year, in those 5 months, we've had 4 runs. We're essentially getting a run every month, if you think about that. Think about that for a second. That is already more than Aitx. That is already more than most penny stocks, and that is reflected on the chart because how many PRs they drop and because all the increase in sales and all the big numbers. PRs are important. Hopefully, Aitx, is watching this. It's very important to have PRs. You can't just, rinse and repeat yourself over and over again. You actually have to do a thing. But yeah, that's what makes this stock better, PR wise, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to make money because it just keeps dropping some hot PRs every now and then. Especially what I just said. What did I just show you? We have a run pretty much every month, so I would expect more runs. And I know back last year I told you like Aitx is gonna have some runs in. I thought it was only gonna have one big run, but hey, if you're gonna give me more runs, more 300 percenters, 100 percenters, I'm here for it. And 2025, Steve Reinhardt mentioned that in 2025 they plan on cleaning up the debt and balance sheet. That's probably my biggest gripe too. And I know a lot of people who look at the financial ratios, who make investments based on the ratios, among other things. If they were to look at Aitx, they would look at that balance sheet and go, yikes, because that assets to liabilities ratio is pretty bad. The debt, all of that, it's pretty bad. It's it, like it's a pretty bad balance sheet. Let's be real. So them cleaning it up, that that can get a lot of investors and eyes on the stock. A lot of would-be investors, if they looked at this stock, they'd be like, "Oh yikes, I'm not touching that with that kind of balance sheet." But if they clean it up next year, those people are going to start investing. They're going to look at this and be like, "Oh, now we're talking. Oh, it's growing. It's getting more sales. All of 22, 24, it had huge growth. Oh, 2025, they cleaned up the balance sheet. Look at this. This is looking real nice right now on the financials. Wow, I think I'm going to put some money into this." Because right now there's a lot of people that they're just going to sit back and wait because they have they have their own methods of deciding when and in what to invest, depending on, I guess, their how they do their due diligence and what they look for more than anything, their valuation strategy. Strong position to uplist in 2026, allegedly. I put allegedly here because you know how some OTC companies are. They talk the talk but don't walk the walk, especially in OTC. They just want to mention the word uplist to get a huge rise in the share price and then they dilute or something. That's usually way, well, it doesn't happen that much anymore, I assume, because most OTC companies are dead since 2021. Only the real companies are still around, like Ilis and Aitx, and I'm sure there's others, but I just don't keep track of them. Because why would I keep track of anything else if Aitx is giving me these four runs in 5 months? Okay, give me another four this year, and I'm gonna buy three bikes. But anyways, jokes aside, strong position to uplist in 2026. So that's the game plan. An uplist in 2026. I mentioned this before. Keep an eye on ILIS and its subsidiary uplist, and ILIS's uplist as well. It's important to keep an eye on those because that's going to be very telling. Notice the phrasing here: strong position to uplist in 2026. ILIS believes that they are in a strong position to uplist and to uplist its subsidiaries as well. And it is important to keep an eye on these because if they're successful in those uplists, you better believe that's going to have a positive ripple effect, in my opinion, on other OTC stocks that plan to uplist. And people are going to look at that and be like, wow, they were successful and it made a lot of people a lot of money. Let me jump into the AITX hype train when they uplist because, you know, they're going to expect that things are going to work out just like it did for ILIS and its subsidiaries. Obviously, this is an assumption and it's a hypothetical, but if the opposite happens, if ILIS and its subsidiaries uplist and they absolutely just fail to stay on the higher exchange, they have to keep reverse splitting to stay on the higher exchange. They get beat down, and it just keeps screwing shareholders over through reverse splits over and over again to stay on that higher exchange because they just keep getting beat down. Then that's going to have a negative effect, I think. Because yeah, that's just going to have a negative effect because people are just going to be like, oh, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching any OTC stock that's uplisting. I'll just wait and see. So ideally, we want things to work out for them because it should have a positive ripple effect on every other OTC stock that is actually going to uplist and that is a real company with a real CEO behind it. So I'm excited for this. Let's see how things go in the next 2 years. No reverse split in 2025, which is good. We don't have to worry about the reverse split for a year and a half. That's a year and a half where we can just buy the bottom, swing trade it to the upside, rinse and repeat. I am not invested in this. I'm not going to invest in it until after the reverse, after they get on the higher exchange and prove to me that they can hold a bottom somewhere. And if they prove that to me, then we will just keep rinse and repeating the same strategy, right? We'll just keep buying the bottom and swing trading it to the upside on the PRs, rinse and repeat forever as long as the stock exists in the stock market, right? So that's what I'm thinking. That's me. Obviously, everyone's different. If you're an investor, uh, you do you and I'll do me and I'll be me. And that is it for the video. I don't think there's much else to talk about. They're going to be operationally profitable. They want to see that by January. I think they'll do it. They'll make it happen. I believe that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.